1976, in a modest garage in Los Altos, California, three young men embarked on a journey that would change the world, not that anyone believed them at the time. In fact, their neighbors probably thought they were just assembling another weird hobby project. Spoiler alert. They weren't. Apple Computer Incorporated was born from the minds of Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne. Now, if you don't know Ronald Wayne, don't worry, you're not alone. Wayne was the practical guy who helped draft the company's original paperwork and owned 10% of Apple. But he sold his stake for $800, a decision that probably keeps him up at night to this day. Their mission? To make computers so user-friendly that even your technologically inept uncle could figure them out. Jobs was the visionary, Wozniak was the technical wizard, and Wayne, well, he was the guy who made sure the contracts were signed before he pieced out. Their first product was the Apple I, which looked less like the sleek devices we know today and more like something you'd find in a high school science fair. It was essentially a motherboard with some chips slapped on it, and you had to provide your own case, keyboard, and monitor. Not exactly plug-and-play. The Apple I was a simple yet groundbreaking personal computer that laid the foundation for the tech revolution. But the road to success wasn't exactly a straight line. Investors laughed them out of rooms. Parts were expensive. And let's just say that banks weren't exactly lining up to hand over wads of cash to two guys in a garage. But Jobs? He could sell sand in the desert. He convinced a local computer store to order 50 computers before they had even built one. And just like that, the Apple I was born. The Apple I wasn't pretty. It looked like someone had stapled a typewriter to a breadboard. But it worked. The duo sold enough to fund the Apple II. The Apple II was a sleeker, more polished machine that would catapult them into the tech stratosphere. The Apple II was a game changer. It wasn't just a computer, it was a gateway to the future. Schools, businesses, and nerdy kids with big dreams were buying it like hotcakes. With the launch of the Apple II, the company became a leader in the emerging personal computing industry. By 1980, Apple went public, making millionaires out of anyone lucky enough to own stock. Not bad for a couple of guys who had once been scrounging for parts. But not all was well at Apple. By the early 1980s, Apple faced stiff competition from IBM and Microsoft. They also had internal drama. Jobs was passionate but temperamental, described by some as a creative genius and by others as the human equivalent of an alarm clock set to go off at 3 a.m. Then came the Lisa, a computer so expensive it made people wonder if Apple thought their customers were made of gold. It flopped. Jobs was kicked off the Lisa project but focused on something even bigger, the Macintosh. The Mac was revolutionary, featuring a graphical user interface and a mouse, but suffered from high prices and limited software support. Jobs was leading the development of the Macintosh, but sales were disappointing compared to Apple's other product, the Apple II. Steve Jobs, known for his intense leadership style, clashed with Apple's executives, and tensions grew between Jobs and then CEO John Sculley, whom Jobs had hired. Eventually, Apple's board of directors sided with Sculley, and Jobs was removed from his position leading the Macintosh division. Feeling sidelined, he resigned and left Apple in 1985. Yes, the man who founded Apple was essentially fired from Apple. Without Jobs' vision, Apple drifted, making costly missteps in the late 1980s and early 1990s. Apple attempted to diversify with products like the Newton MessagePad, 1993, an early personal digital assistant, PDA, that failed due to poor handwriting recognition. Meanwhile, competitors like Microsoft and Intel dominated the PC market, leaving Apple's expensive, proprietary computers struggling to compete. Apple also experimented with licensing the Mac OS to third-party manufacturers, which backfired, further eroding its unique brand appeal. By 1996, Apple was in financial crisis, suffering from declining market share, inconsistent product strategies, and internal instability. The company went through multiple CEOs who failed to turn things around, including Gil Amelio, who made drastic cost-cutting decisions but could not stop the downward spiral. Apple was on the brink of bankruptcy, with analysts predicting its imminent collapse. The 90s were rough. While Apple floundered without Jobs, he wandered the tech wilderness. Jobs founded Next, acquired Pixar, and probably laughed maniacally when Apple's sales started tanking. By the mid-90s, the company was in such bad shape it considered selling itself to Microsoft. Then, like a hero in the final act of a blockbuster movie, Jobs returned in 1997. And he had a plan. First order of business? Simplify. Apple had too many products that nobody wanted. Jobs slashed the lineup and focused on making a few brilliant products. Introducing the iMac. It was colorful. It was sleek. It was fun. And, most importantly, it sold like crazy. Apple was back. But Jobs wasn't done yet. In 2001, Apple looked at the chaotic mess of MP3 players and said, "We can do better." The iPod was born. 1,000 songs in your pocket. It wasn't just a product, it was a revolution. Suddenly, Apple wasn't just a computer company, it was a lifestyle. Then, 2007 happened. The moment that changed everything. Steve Jobs took the stage, holding what looked like a tiny rectangle of magic. An iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator, he said. Are you getting it? The audience erupted. The iPhone was here. The iPhone wasn't just a phone. It redefined how we live, work, and argue with strangers on the internet. And from there, Apple became an unstoppable juggernaut. The iPad? A hit. Apple Watch? A hit. AirPods? People mocked them at first, now you see them in every coffee shop on earth. After Jobs' passing in 2011, Tim Cook took the reins as CEO, leading Apple into a new era of financial dominance and innovation. The company expanded its ecosystem with services like Apple Music, iCloud, and Apple Pay, while also making strides in AI, augmented reality, and sustainability. Apple's focus on premium products, sleek design, and ecosystem integration has made it the first publicly traded company to surpass a $3 trillion market valuation. Today, Apple is worth more than some entire countries. It has revolutionized music, phones, tablets, watches, and even how we talk to our refrigerators. But at its core, it's still about the same thing Jobs and Wozniak dreamed of in that little garage, making technology simple, beautiful, and, let's be honest, really cool. It was like the nerdy kid in school suddenly showing up with a leather jacket and a motorcycle. People couldn't resist. Of course, the journey wasn't all smooth sailing. Apple faced lawsuits, accusations of monopolistic behavior, and criticism over labor practices. The infamous battle with Samsung over smartphone patents became the tech equivalent of a soap opera, with courtroom drama that could rival Law and Order. And let's not forget the public outcry over removing the headphone jack. Apple is more than a company, it's a cultural phenomenon. From the Apple Watch on your wrist to the AirPods in your ears, it's hard to go a day without encountering their products. Today, Apple is exploring AI, augmented reality, AR, and self-driving car technology, ensuring its relevance in the future of tech. With a loyal customer base, cutting-edge design, and a commitment to privacy and sustainability, Apple remains one of the most influential companies in the world. Apple's journey from a garage startup to near bankruptcy, followed by one of the greatest business turnarounds in history, is a testament to vision, perseverance, and relentless innovation. Apple started with a simple idea in a garage and grew into a global powerhouse. Was it always easy? No. Was it worth it? Absolutely. And it all began with a vision, a lot of passion, and a little bit of craziness. Thanks for watching Conglomerate Chronicles. If you enjoyed uncovering the epic rise of your favorite companies, from humble beginnings to unstoppable corporate giants, with all the twists, turns, and drama along the way, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. There's always a new empire to explore, and every story is packed with surprises you won't want to miss.